monsters, madness, and
Welcome to the Monsters, Madness, and Magic podcast. I'm Justin, joined by my co-host Henry, and this evening we have three very special guests with us. The Howling Man and Groove Master, Mr. Jarvis Leatherby. The Thunder and Voice of Cirith Ungol, Mr. Robert Garven and Mr. Tim Baker. Gentlemen, how the hell are y'all doing?
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And the grunt from Robert. So Tim and Rob, Cirith Ungol's history is pushing 50 years. So I suppose the appropriate place to start is the beginning. I saw an interview of Rob's. He dispelled a rumor that the band formed in 72. You said the first live show was actually in 71. So I'm going to hand it over to you guys. Take us through those formative years and how you got together and Tim landed on vocals.
Yeah, that's Rob's bag. He's the historian here, so he'll probably just tell you the same story if he's up for it.
Actually, we've revised that date. Actually, 72 is the date that we're saying we got together, because even though that we were technically together in 71, the first real concert we did, which was kind of like a outdoor, like mini pop festival, was in 1972.
But what about Titanic? Are you not mentioning Titanic?
Yeah, well, no, me and Greg were in an advanced literature class in 7th grade, and we'd have to meet every morning, and the teacher was late, so we'd be sitting there talking about stuff, and we found out we had like music in common, and we both like cars, like, racing and Formula One racing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that's how we met. And we had a buddy, Jerry, who played guitar. And actually, I didn't play drums at the time. I just wanted to play drums, right? And then we had another friend, Pat, whose parents were kind of like in a family folk band. It was kind of like the Partridge Family, except for folk music. And so he played rhythm guitar. So we got together and we're playing music for a while. But Pat really he loved the Beatles. And so we ended up playing like 50 Beatle cover songs. And me and Greg and Jerry kind of liked heavier stuff. I remember Greg one day sitting out there in front of the classroom, he brought Mountain's first album over and he loaned it to me. And over the next, couple of months or so, he'd loaned me all the heavy albums that he was buying. And it kind of got me listening into more heavy music. And so we wanted to go in that direction. And so the Titanic thing, sure, it was our first band, but, we wanted to kind of split away. And so we told Pat we were going to leave and play some heavier stuff. Mm-hmm. And then that's how we got together. So, but I'm not counting. Titanic was,
So the band was called Titanic in 71 and Cirith Ungol officially in 72. That's the short version of it.
So you just mentioned that you guys, you and Greg met in advanced English class.
He also mentioned that they covered 50 Beatles songs, so 1/4 of an entire overrated catalog. No. Yeah.
All right, Robert. So you met Greg in advanced English. Is that where you guys also started with the your interest in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, and that was actually part of it. We were actually assigned to read the Lord of the Rings, and back then, nowadays everyone's seen the movie and knows about it. Back then, you went to class and the teacher goes, "Hey, here's 3 700-page, 600-page books I want you to read," and we're all like, we're younger kids and we're like, wow, that's
you're going to that.
But anyway, that was our first experience with J.R. Tolkien, and we were actually, we were influenced by that. the time too, Greg was reading a lot of other sword and sorcery stuff like Conan the Barbarian by Robert Howard and stuff like that. And so we were reading that along with the Lord of the Rings, and that's kind of where our interest in that type of literature and art came from.
Like I said, you guys are pushing 50 years. Is it weird now seeing how saturated, I guess, the fantasy world is with Lord of the Rings? And when you guys started, it was kind of a lesser known. Was the cartoon out back then?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when we asked permission, we got a hold of the guys that actually got the rights to release the cartoon in the United States. And we asked permission.
You're talking about the backsheet thing, right?
Yeah, no, there were, well,
There was something before that?
I forgot who did it, but there was a Hobbit cartoon that came out.
Oh,
It should have been Ralph Bashke, right?
That's what I thought, but I think that came later on. They did it like a rotoscope with the backsheet thing.
Well, to be honest, I can't remember what it was, but we wrote the guys and said, hey, we'd like to use this for a name for our band. And they pretty much said, well, that's fine. They go, just, send us, from time to time what you're doing, just so it doesn't, show badly on the, their,
You're not making porn. So you weren't making pornos under Cirith Ungol. That's really what they wanted to keep you from doing, right?
I actually have here, which I guess this is like the worst. This has got to be the absolute worst thing for radio. Anyway, I have a original document here from the Saul Zentz Production Company, June 24th, 1981. A letter that Rob wrote to them, and they wrote back and said, Dear Mr. Garven, pursuant to our several phone conversations, this is to advise you that Saul Zentz Company has no objection to your use of the term Cirith Ungol as the name of your musical group on the conditions that you not use any other names, characters, or places from Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit material, and that we be sent copies of your recorded product as a quality check. Good luck with your endeavor. Malcolm Bernstein, J.R. Tolkien.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
So we've got documents here, and there's a lot of back and forth here. So it's,
and then the first thing they did is write "She Lived There" on other stuff.
Yeah.
Did you actually send them the music?
I'm sure Rob still fucking set. Rob's like,
probably worried about
Rob
it.
Rob probably sent his social security check to these guys. Like that's a whole, But I'm sure Rob. Yes, I'm sure Rob followed the letter on this and then some.
We won't tell anybody if he didn't, Rob.
But talk about a time though. You guys were like at that point to where you're not anywhere close to the Jackson films, and obviously if you try to do that now, they'd laugh at you and say, "Hey, where's our hundreds of thousands of dollars for rights?" But you guys were like right there at the point where
it didn't matter.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it didn't matter. I mean, it was such an obscure thing. I mean, it was a cartoon or whatever it was. But I mean, who was making cartoons? I guess it was a feature length cartoon. I don't even remember what it was, but I wasn't involved in all that. But I mean, I don't even remember that. So they probably just said, "Yeah, here's some crackpot guys want to use this weird name. Yeah, what's not going to hurt us? Maybe somebody will watch the movie, they hear the name."
Yeah, it's not like Hanna-Barbera was fucking banking that.
Yeah,
Saturday mornings,
Yeah, you're not trying to name your band Yogi Bear and Friends or something.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I have something to add to that. Actually, that company, Saul Zantz Company, got their money from John Fogerty. I guess they were friends with him, so his money was the money that fronted the organization for their production, and they ended up putting out One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Amadeus, The Mosquito Coast, The English Patient. So I mean, it was a pretty big company for a while. Now, I mean, that had nothing to do with anything we did. I just wanted to provide that for like back.
Yeah,
sounds like
you never actually sent him any music or anything else after that first letter, right?
Yeah, you know what though? Here's the thing: those guys bought the rights, and I'm looking at it right now. They actually put in 1978. They put out the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings. Actually, there's a funny thing. I'm looking on Wikipedia. There's some controversy going on I never knew about. Anyway,
Oh no, you did it!
No. Don't break the case open now, man.
But they ended up, once again, I'm pretty sure probably the Tolkien family retained the rights and just licensed that out. And then after that thing, I'm pretty sure, the guys that put out the movie, The Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, whoever the producers were actually got the rights to do that. So I don't think those guys retain those rights. And I guess we should have been sending, copies of our albums to.
Yeah.
No, actually, besides, like, he was like that was the company that was representing them legally, like, kind of as an attorney. But I have still letterhead here, Rob, that you sent me, like, from J.R. Tolkien Enterprises, like, secondly approving this. So, fuck them, whatever, dude. Dude, copyright doesn't exist. It's 2021, dude. Nothing. Try to change your phone plan right now. it's just like you won't even get a person on the phone. Like,
no one cares about copyright anymore.
No.
It's always interesting, like how and when and where music catches on. Hearing you guys always talking about how you weren't accepted locally because you had a punk scene, and then you hear folks like Rich Walker talk. And he's getting in fist fights at record stores over the latest Cirith Ungol album. So when did you guys become aware of the international following?
Well, it's funny. I got in fist fights over Cirith Ungol albums at record stores too. and to be honest, we're still not accepted where we live. Our band, so.
Yeah, right.
Me neither. Just sitting here.
Well, I guess, okay, here's what happened. The way the whole band came about was we'd been playing for a while. We put out an orange tape that we sent around to some record companies, but Jarvis just re-released recently. And to get your copy, go to Iron Grip and download.
And they're sold out, man.
No. We just pressed some more, so we're good.
Oh, yeah, right.
The heavymetalstore.com.
Nice.
Okay, so anyway, we put that out there and gave it to some of our friends and sent it off through the mail, and we never got a response back. So we thought, hey, let's do something different. Let's try to make a demo, but that would be as fancy as like any major record company would put out, And I mean, we meant like, it'd have a really good cover and it'd be pressed really good and recorded really good. So we decided that's what we're going to do, and that ended up being what everyone knows today as Frost and Fire.
So a full-length LP is what you're talking about. A demo tape to a full-length LP. Right.
And what we wanted to do, we wanted something that, also too, we were playing some of the local clubs like the Starwood and the Whiskey and stuff. You'd go down there, people drop off a tape. If you went in and dropped off like a 12-inch LP that was really, had a nice cover on it and it was well recorded, we thought that might get our foot in the door places that otherwise we couldn't. And the joke was, you'd send a cassette out to a record company and the secretary would erase a cassette and just record stuff on there for her own car. So we were hoping that by doing something fancy. And so at the time we were friends with Brian Slagle, and he worked at a store in Woodland Hills called Oz Records. And that's kind of like a suburb of the Los Angeles area. And, we went down there talking to him because he had a magazine out called the New Heavy Metal Review. And he was covering like, big bands, whether it's Iron Maiden or Motorhead. And since we were local, he did a few interviews and reviews with us. So we're down there dropping off some records that we had made, and we're going, we wish we could, do something more with this. And he put us in touch with some guys that actually we ended up signing a license deal with. And what they did is they a big import-export guys, and they started exporting the records to Europe. So you ask how we kind of got to Europe. That was the first way that we did. And while we're there meeting with Brian, we're going, our dream is, we want to be a famous band. And he goes, my dream is I want to start my own record company. And he asked us if we wanted to put a song on his first album, Metal Massacre 1, which was a compilation. And we said, yes. So back then at the time, we were both like, just people that weren't really successful, just trying to break into the music business. And, our story, we kind of went on for years and then fell apart and got back together. But Brian, Metal Blade Records is, it's the iconic metal label of the last century.
So you guys started off as an instrumental band. At any point, Tim, did you like raise your hand and say, hey, maybe I should would you guys like to hear what I sound like or something?
No. How that morphed into what it became was, like I said, they used to be an instrumental band, so they had all these songs, and they used to practice up at Rob's house upstairs. He had like the whole upstairs like kind of taken over when his sister moved out, so he had one bedroom for his bedroom, and the other bedroom in the hallway had like big closet and stuff in it. So we had like recording equipment in there, and they played in the bedroom. So we used to record everything, make demos, of all the songs, and at night after or whenever everybody left and things. So we'd go in there, Rob and I would go in there and just sing on the demos and things like that. And it kind of just morphed from there. I used to do, when I first met him, they I don't know if they had Neil Beatty at that time or not, but I mean, then they finally got Neil Beatty for a while and singing and stuff, and that kind of didn't go the way they wanted it to go. So they did some concerts or like just regular, shows around town. They even actually played at the Whiskey A Go-Go and stuff like that as an instrumental band, which is kind of really unusual, an instrumental metal band. So I was like, involved doing the sound and stuff like that. We were doing recordings just for kicks, and it just kind of worked out that I kind of ended up just like pushing my way in there and just kind of taking the role on, and that's how all that came about. Whether that's a good thing or not, I mean, at the time it was a debatable subject, but
I'd say it worked out.
It worked out. Yeah, it worked out for the best, I guess.
Dude, listen, the thing I always trip about, and I never talked about this before, but just even hearing that story solidifies it. Like, because I read all rock biographies. Like, that's my thing. Like, what's the deal? Like, but I've been in bands my whole life too. In the 70s, like what? Just every band just had roadies. They just reference it's like, and that's like, did these roadies ever go on to anything? Did they ever get paid at the time? Like, they're like, oh, on this tour, oh yeah, like there's all these people on their crew. They had a crew. They had like a guy. They had a fucking sound guy. They had a light guy. I mean, just hanger on. Like Tim was a hanger on, I guess, and he just fucking became the lead vocalist. But like, that's just the thing. You had a crew. It's like, with Night Demon, it's like, fuck, man, we've had crews, but it's like, we have crews because the band doesn't make any money. That's how we have a crew. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a professional operation so that we don't make any money. Like we have to pay people because they're actually working, Right. But it seems like in the 70s, every band had a fucking road crew, man. Everybody.
Hey, man. Hey, if you want to get into the shows for free, you got to be able to say, I'm with the band.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean,
that's how it worked out, brother.
Yeah,
that's the way things went back then, man.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Like I said, it was.
They were a posse.
Yeah, posse.
That's a better word.
Better word. But
that word came back in the late 80s and early 90s in gangster rap. Yeah.
Yeah, but back then, I mean, especially in Ventura, there was, a very small amount of people that were into heavy music and metal and stuff like that. So anybody who was into that stuff, everybody knew everybody. I mean, so and the friends that you had weren't all into the same thing. Just like nowadays, I mean, you don't hang out with somebody that's listening to, But I mean, back then it was more. It was I don't know. It was kind of more of a friendship kind of thing as far as crew and your friends.
Right.
It was like everybody was just involved in it. So. It's like, hey, man, you want to come help? You want to come help us out? Yeah, sure.
But those were also the days where, you had to go out and socialize to become part of a subculture. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, yeah. Totally.
Like, you didn't know about rock and roll unless you heard about it from a kid in high school, and then you had to go experience it for yourself, and then you had to grow up in it and go to parties and go to shows and start drinking, then go into bars, then go into shows. It wasn't like you had no other outlet. The newspaper definitely wasn't the outlet. Your next door neighbor wasn't the outlet. It was like actually being in public and meeting people. And that's something that we're losing every fucking day.
Yeah, it wasn't like now where you can just sit in your basement and stream concerts and not have to go anywhere and all that kind of crap. I mean, you had to actually go out and experience it. If you wanted to find out if you wanted to find what you liked, you had to go search it out and actually go. I mean, just even to find out who was playing was a bitch, man. I mean, you have to go. You have to find the Los Angeles newspaper on a Sunday.
Yeah, I remember we bought the LA Weekly. They used to import the LA Weekly to Ventura. We're an hour north of LA, so we'd have to pay. It was a free paper in LA, but we'd have to pay $1 for it because they would import it to Ventura. But it was worth it because you'd find out that week. Holy shit, all the gigs, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can go to gig every night of the week. Anyway, let's go back. Sorry, Justin, I don't want to take your interview over, but quickly, speaking of going out in public and discovering things, let's talk about the artwork of Michael Whelan let's start with Frost and Fire. Back to Rob. No, but he did all the records. So back to Rob from Frost and Fire. How'd the band hook up with Michael Whelan as an unsigned band with nothing to get the Elric Stormbringer cover for Frost, the first record?
Jarvis, you're really good at this.
Well, that was
That's why I'm on the team, right?
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, he's part of the posse now.
Well,
That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, is that a green screen, Jarvis?
Yeah, I actually took this photo though, so it's good.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so that's a very simple question. Okay, so we were working on this album, Frost and Fire. That's what we're going to do, release it as a demo, and we're thinking we need artwork for it. The band was kind of influenced by the sword and sorcery stuff I already explained to you. And one of our favorite bands, Dust, had used a painting by Frank Frazetta called Snow Giants, where it shows three kind of barbarian guys in the snow hacking each other with a kind of like a mountaintop in the background. And so we were thinking, well, Frank Frazetta he painted all the covers of the Conan books. And so we were kind of really into that, in that whole sword and sorcery art too.
Mhm.
And so we were going to contact him, where I was about ready to contact him, because he had a painting that we loved called Berserker. And we actually had it hanging up in the band room while we were practicing and recording this album. We had it hanging up, its painting had been out for 10 years or so. And right as soon as we decided that's what we want to use, Molly Hatchet came out with that. And I think it was their second album. They ended up having, having Michael Whelan, they ended up having almost all Frank Frazetta covers for their albums. So when we saw that, we're like, well, shit, that's what we wanted to use. And I remember Greg had loaned me at the time the book Stormbringer by Michael Moorcock, and I'm holding it in my hand. And I remember looking at it because we're going, what are we going to use now? And I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, wow, I think I said aloud, this would be the best album cover ever.
Of all times.
Yeah, of all time. Right. And so, this was back then. I wrote on the inside of the Daw books. I wrote Daw books. They put me in touch with Michael Whelan. We talked on the phone. And at the time, he hadn't done any other bands. I mean, he went on, I think he did Meatloaf, and he did a Michael Jackson album cover.
Yeah, he did Bad Out of Hell too. He did Sepultura Arise. He did Chaos AD. He did Dangerous for Michael Jackson. Did he do that?
Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
I didn't even know
Yeah.
that.
What else is that? I'm sorry to cut you off, Rob. Keep going.
Well,
Keep going.
he did some pretty famous authors. He did Isaac Asimov, Robots of the Dawn. He did 2010, A Space Odyssey. I mean, he did the H.P. Lovecraft books. I mean, he did all sorts of really amazing fantasy stuff. And so, but this was before that, and he was only 28, I think, when we contacted him, and we were like 11, right? And so I'm joking.
I'm telling Michael you said that, man.
Yeah. Anyway, so we sent him some of our music, and we agreed. He agreed to let us license a cover, and we actually became really good friends with him. And after the band got back together, we played in Brooklyn, and he's over in Connecticut. He actually drove over with several of his friends to watch the band play. And he's just an all-around great guy. He's an amazing artist, though. We were talking earlier before the podcast began. Me and Tim went to an art show of his down in Pasadena, and the stuff is just amazing. Some of his paintings are like 5 feet by 6 feet, and they look like they're glowing. They almost look like they have like a light behind them glowing the colors through. And it was so amazing. I remember Tim coming up and going, how does someone have the talent to do this? And we're talking with his son. He goes, well, I grew up the whole time with my dad. He's always been doing this stuff. And we told him that. And he goes, no. He goes, it's just an art. He goes, just like you guys are really good musicians, I'm a good artist. But I wasn't.
It's funny. I actually have a photo
that.
of you, Rob, I have a photo of you from that night that I just found on my phone the other day. Because like on your phone, if you look through the albums now on the iPhone, it comes up with all these faces, like faces that happen often, So it's like 12 faces, like click on this guy's face. And I saw your face, Rob, and I clicked on it, and it like creates a slideshow of all the pictures of you in my camera roll. And there's a picture of you from that night, and you're like hugging Michael Whelan, and I think his shoulders like soaked from your tears. It's like it's fucking hilarious. But
Well,
yeah.
His artwork's amazing. I remember going up and seeing Stormbringer. It'd been on our album for 20, 30 years by then. Because it was just a few years ago. I remember going up and looking at it up close, and I literally brought tears to my eyes. I mean, it was so beautiful. And
it brought tears to his shoulder on his leather jacket at his gallery showing. That's what it really did.
We hadn't seen each other in a long time because the band broke up for 20, 30 years. And
25
he
years.
told us, he told us to come down to the art show. So me and Tim go in there, and there's all these guys from, asking him questions, like a whole question and answers thing going on. And we walk in, and I'm standing at the very back of the thing, and he stops everything that's going on. And he yells out, he goes, hey, Rob, what's going on? I haven't seen you. And it was so refreshing. And then there's a picture of me and Tim like all hugging him, and he's doing like the horns up thing with his hands. He's a good guy, and he's amazing talent, and being able to use his paintings on our albums has been like,
he's an amazing talent. He is really out of this world. He really is. I mean, the shit he does with the fucking paintbrush, man.
Art,
incredible.
Painting is something that just blows my mind every time I see it. I just can't grasp how artists create something like that. Any kind of painting, I just can't create.
Imagine seeing that in person, though. The real,
yeah.
Like, there's no brush strokes, right? Is there, Tim? Like,
what?
You know what I'm saying? Like, in person.
Yeah. It's eerie. It's you just kind of look at it and you go, I don't know, did a human do this?
Yeah, but like I've been to gallery showings, I've been to like some posh things, and like I've kind of been like, man, I'm just so jaded. Like I smoke too much pot in my life, like this, you know what I'm saying? No, really though. Like just like, fuck, man, I'm trying to be cool, but like it's just, I don't know. It's not doing something for me.
Are you doing that now or what?
No. But seeing something like that, like that good, you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like you could look at it on your phone right now and have that feeling, but in person, like fucking blow your ass away. Anyway.
Henry, I know you've been trying to say something.
Yeah, Henry's been silent. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's amazing. I mean, considering that the amount of time that's passed, from the previous album to Forever Black, all of you guys managed to come back together. It was almost providence that you were able to get him to do to get another album cover. All of you guys were able to join back together. I mean, there's a lot of bands that, they get back together years later and, someone's dropped off, or the artists that did everything have disappeared. But now, you've released this fantastic follow-up after this hiatus, and everything seems to have fallen back together. You've been able to get that fantastic, you've been able to get Whelan on there to do a new cover, and it's just, I just wanted to say how amazing it is. Like, it feels like when I listened to that album could have been dropped at any point of time. It would have felt like it was perfectly where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. You say, most bands that come back, they've, dropped some members and this and that. I mean, we actually added one of the original members back, which is kind of really unusual. We got Greg back in the band, so I mean, which is really
Iron Maiden it.
Yeah. Well, whatever that means, I don't know what that.
Like Adrian Smith coming back, like
I'm joking. Yeah, but I mean, it is pretty amazing that we were able to get all the original guys back that were still alive. I mean, basically except for Jerry, and of course Jimmy was on Paradise Lost too. So it's it's really the band. Plus we have this bass player guy that we got now. I mean, that guy's sitting there, so it all worked out really good. I mean, and
someone's got to cash the checks.
Somebody, there you go. Yeah, somebody's got to write the check.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Jarvis, where did you come from? Like, I know you're the manager and the bassist, but you knew these guys personally beforehand. So
yeah, a little bit. I knew Rob. I knew Rob for a bit. I've been in like the punk scene and the metal scene for a long time with and kind of knew the guys in this legendary Oxnard punk band called Ill Repute. And they had the drummer Carl Valdez had worked at the city of Ventura, and he had worked there for life. And he had introduced me to Rob, who also worked there for life. Rob worked there for 38 years, and that's kind of how we got talking about it. And I tried to reunite the band for a long ass time, but that didn't happen. Like, I would end up being on tour with Night Demon, and I would call Rob and be like, man, there's like, you don't understand. There's like Cirith Ungol fans. Like, I'm in Miami, and he'd be like, yeah, no, that's cool. Can you get me back? Can you get me backstage to Scorpions and Queensryche? And I'll be like, I guess. Like, I'll try and make a call, But like, I'm telling you, people, But it evolved over time. I mean, there was a lot of things that happened, but yeah, I mean, it's just like a heritage thing. Like Cirith Ungol is just it's a band that you heard about growing up, And I mean, it was many years before I even heard the music. And then when I did, I couldn't get into it when I first heard it, when it was just a little too off the wall for me, or ahead of its time, or, just, I was in a different...
You were a punk.
Well, but even beyond that, like in the 90s, like I wanted my metal to sound like the Black Album. You know what I'm saying? I was like 12, 13, 14 years old playing music, right? And I was used to that production. And I get Frost and Fire, right? And it's like, I thought it was cool because they were from town, but I didn't get it then.
Right.
But see, nowadays, now that my ears have matured, like I rather listen to demos now. Like when I hear like a 2-mic recording, I'm like, okay, like I feel the raw power of the band,
Right.
not some Bob Rock production. So, but yeah. I mean, we'll save my story for another time. But that's basically the gist of it. So,
So for you
I don't know,
guys,
I'm sure-
what was it about Jarvis that, what was the straw that broke the camel's back? Why did you eventually just say, yeah, let's do it?
Well, when
Rob?
the band broke up, the band broke up for several reasons. A couple of members left, and it was kind of during a time like where the hair metal thing was just raging in LA. I mean, you'd go down there and like you'd be standing in line, and people were just putting hairspray on you just to like go see a band. And and also too, the speed metal thing was happening. Metallica and a lot of the bands were taken off, and we just, the music we were playing, we considered it like the traditional classic type heavy metal, and it looked like to us where things were headed wasn't where we were headed, and after a couple of members left, me and Tim were there in the band room all by ourselves, and we were trying to think, hey, are we really gonna have to go out and recruit a couple of new members and teach them all the music and go through this all over again? And we've been together for over 20 years. You remember, you guys were joking about not getting paid. You can't pay the roadies if the band don't make nothing. And that was something Jarvis was saying. So we just decided, hey, let's hang it up. And so also too, we just put out our last studio album, Paradise Lost. And we had a 3-album deal with that record company. And 2 weeks after it came out, they were having me call the guys in Europe trying to get it licensed in Europe because we have a lot of fans over there. And I couldn't really talk anyone into it. And then we got a letter 2 or 3 weeks later just saying that they decided not to pick up the option to release any more records. So that's when the last 2 members, besides me and Tim, left. And we were just sitting there going, what are we doing this for? 20 years, no paycheck, no one cares. We knew we'd put out some good music, but you can't survive just on your love for what you're doing. Now, real artists do that, but we did do it for 20 years, so you can't say we gave up easily. And that's...
Well, you did it for more than that if you think about it, because it was 1992. And also your last show was opening for the Vinnie Vincent Invasion in 92 in a secondary market. Yeah,
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah. At that point, you kind of go, let's see, if I beat my head against this rock a little longer, maybe I won't realize how shitty things are right now. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's kind of the way it was. I mean, like Rob said, it came down to the fact where we weren't really getting anywhere. It didn't seem like it was going to be going anywhere.
Right.
Having to find other guys to fill in for the other guys that quit. It would just it was just time to hang it up.
Okay, but so for the better part of 20 years, like let's talk about the band basically started in 71. So we're talking 20 years. So we're talking up until 92.
Yeah,
91, 92. So for those 20 years though, you guys really you lived it and went for it, right? Like how often was the band rehearsing during 20 years and writing songs and really trying to go out there and quote unquote make it? That's what you did back then, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, it was an effort that we put out 4 albums in that time. So I mean, we practiced all the time, 3 or 4 times a week. We had a studio. We had a studio we had for years, like right across from Gold Mine, where we recorded all the albums at. We go down, play all the clubs in LA. Try to get our stuff over in Europe. Press and everything like that. It wasn't like now where they have the internet where you're like I said, you can sit in your basement and send out all your stuff and maybe send it out all over the world. It wasn't like that. I mean, you have to pack stuff up and send it out to a record company or a promoter or a manager or something like that. So I mean, it was just a constant struggle of not getting anywhere, especially being in Ventura. I mean, we weren't in LA, so we weren't really a part of the scene down there. So I mean, that didn't help anything. I mean, if we were smart, we probably would have moved down there. We would have just circumstances being, we should have probably just stuck with Brian's label when it first formed and got going. But I mean, who the hell know where at the time where that was going to go or not? You know what I mean? And we were kind of already committed. We were already kind of committed to these other guys, and it was up and down. It was just like I said, it got to the point where it got to be too much, and it just was frustrating, and it was just time to end it. So, but I mean, like, hey, we gave it a go. We did the best that we could, being up here, like not having any contacts or not having any money and no promotion and shit. So, I mean, hey, it was what it was, and
Yeah, but
nowadays you might be able to do a better job of it nowadays. Like I said, with the ease of getting things out there and
Right.
getting things done with the internet and all that stuff. But
and see, that's one thing I want to hit on really quick is that like a lot of people say rock is dead and like it's impossible for a band to make it these days and stuff like that, right? But like, okay, so like my band Night Demon, we've been around for like this May it'll be like 10 years. In 2023 it'll be 10 years since we actually released music. So really it's 8 years, okay?
Right.
We were going to Europe on our first EP. We went to Mexico on our first record. We were doing these things. We were getting around. We were on the internet. We were getting out there and doing these things, right? And as much as like music is just a fucking cheap commodity, right? Art. I was just say art is a cheap commodity these days, right? Like it should be free. People think they're entitled to bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, there were gatekeepers, where it's like if you couldn't get past the gatekeeper, you had no shot at all. So it's like people these days would look back on a band like Cirith Ungol or like any great band that started like a DIY thing, whether it be the new wave of British heavy metal, any band from the late 70s or punk band, metal band from the 80s, anything that like, their first releases were very honest and like they had to do what they had to do. They had to borrow money from their parents, produce it, record it, press it, put it out. It was awesome. And then they had to play the game. They got picked up by a label and pressure. You had to make it then. Like you had no chance.
Right. Okay.
So rock is not dead now. Like I see now how many more opportunities there are. They're so available. Even though art is a cheap commodity as a product, it's all how you package it and what you can add to the tail end of it, right? But so with Tim and Rob, with you guys, what's one thing that I appreciate now and that I hope you guys appreciate is that, I see a lot of things on social media where people will, it's funny, I always see, they call them the strip ads, right? I see all the strip ads from the old newspapers and magazines. You see all the show lineups, right? And you're like, wow, can you imagine in 1 month, there's like all these legends playing at this club, like the people that we know now as legendary. They weren't back then.
Right.
But you see all the opening bands. You see all these names. Who were these guys, right? We all come from places that have bands, thousands of bands that were never heard of or discovered, One thing about Cirith Ungol, I could say, is at least you guys were doing the DIY thing before hardcore punk was even doing it. Seriously, before like Minor Threat, before Black Flag, all that stuff. You guys were doing it. And all 4 of those albums were on labels. They were widely distributed around the world. You had distribution, you had record company, and you had the art of Michael Whelan. And that's why we're sitting here talking about it today. Okay.
Yeah.
So as much as the band did not get its due, in a way, that alone, is a real gift. That is like an amazing thing to have. Like from day one, you took a risk, you took a leap of faith without a net, and it paid off. It really did. Life is a long fucking game.
Right.
And that's why I'm sad that Jerry's not here and guys like this, because like you waited out. These guys talk about breaking up. It's like they were not in the band longer than they were in the band before we got back together. Really,
Mm-hmm.
Inactive music, And so I want that to be known. And I want the guys in this band to know that like, that's a really cool thing. Those records were put out by labels. They were distributed, and the band never toured. They played Mexico in 1982. Other than that, it was just regional from Southern California and that's it. And now the band is doing one-offs, headlining around the world, So redemption. I know the Anvil guy's really good. I've toured with them tons of times. I wish that this band had the movie because this is the film. I'm just saying.
I'm just piggybacking off what you're saying, man. Like just what Robert said earlier about contacting the Tolkien estate. Like you had that's some balls. That's some crazy stuff to do. You're just like, I'm going to do it. You did it. It worked. It's just something that you do. You know, you take the shot. If
you don't ask, you don't get. And just like he also said that he wrote to contact Michael Whelan. He opened up the fucking kind of, he's in the fucking bookmobile at school. And like, oh, there's an address in the back. Let me write a letter, That's Rob, So
my philosophy is you miss every shot you don't take. So I appreciate it.
Jarvis said you had to go through gatekeepers back then, and that's true. But we went through Zool, the gatekeeper of Gozer.
Were you a god?
But when you think about it, the movement back then was, and I hate to use this word, but it seemed almost a little bit more organic. Like it was word of mouth, and over time the band proliferated amongst fans. Whereas nowadays it seems like bands kind of pop up, and there's this huge social media explosion where they try to get things out to people, and it's flash in the pan.
It's still word of mouth, though.
It's true, absolutely. But modern bands they have to deal with the next band in such a proliferated way. It's speeding up ever so. I mean, you can't get on into Bandcamp or Spotify if you want to deal with that demon or whatever other audio platform without dealing with oh, you listen to this, guys, well, here's 10 others that are popping up and you should listen to their albums. Where you're kind of flooded with choices necessarily where you don't get the opportunity to fill a band out like how it was back in the day.
Well, you know what? Well, there you go. You're talking about organic things, but now you just mentioned all the modern gigs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're talking about Spotify. That's what it is now. Spotify, all that kind of crap. I mean, those guys pay people nothing at all. They're just thieves. And if you want to get, like you said, if you want to get popular, you have to make a deal with the devil in some ways. And, people will do that, of course. I mean, but like I said, those are the modern day gatekeepers. Back in the day, the gatekeepers were the guy who owned the local club where they would go, well, if you guys want to play here, here's 100 tickets you got to sell, go out and make sure that you make our money for us. So we don't have to sell. I mean, crap like that. But now, like I said, now it's Spotify and whoever the hell else, Apple Music, which are like, they pay you for like what, 0.0001 cent per play of records and things like that. But I mean, hey, that's the modern world. That's the way it is. It's easier to get your name out there, but there's like so much crap out there to compete with. It's almost impossible to break through anywhere, and it's hit or miss whether you do or not. I mean, that's just the way of the world nowadays. It's just people's attention span is about as long as
people. You're how many times you flip across various websites every day. You check out 20 different bands within a week. Which one of them is sticking with you, or what music. Yeah. So I mean, whatever the radios are playing, 24 hours a day, they want to play the same one hit wonder, 50 times a day. So you're stuck with that, and that's what ends up with you. But it's definitely more of a machination now than.
That's a good word for it.
Yeah, I'm totally guilty of it. I'm guilty of it too in a way because, like I said, a lot of these, the year-end lists have just come out on all kinds of websites and things like that, and they'll be like, here's the top 50, here's the top 20 or whatever, and you start cycling through. Oh, here's a band. You'll click on the thing and listen to like 10 seconds of something. And go, move on to the next thing and go, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll remember that. Maybe I'll listen to that later on Apple Music where they won't get paid for it. And then you go on to like number 10, number whatever, and you listen to like 5 seconds and go, oh, that's, I don't like that, or I like this. So it's everybody's, like I said, it's not like you're going to sit down and go, oh, here's an album. It looks interesting. I'm gonna get stoned to put my headphones on and listen to the whole freaking thing all the way through, and then I'll decide whether I like it or not as a concept or what the guys are trying to do. It doesn't work that way anymore. Yeah.
You're not taking your weekly paycheck and kind of gambling on the.
Oh yeah, on a good looking record cover.
Yeah, you look at that
on the Michael Whelan artwork.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You look at that artwork and you go like this. Yeah. All right.
That's exactly. I mean, that's part of the thing. Like I said, Rob,
that was the genius of Cirith Ungol, man. It's like, dude,
that's
the
exactly
Michael Whelan artwork will get your paycheck, and then you hear the fucking $2 recording.
There you go, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was even me as a kid, man. That the Cirith Ungol, the covers, man, the artwork. I mean, it's just.
Well,
it's
but especially back in those days. I mean, like you said,
even today, dude.
Well, yeah,
even today.
But even like I said, when we first met Brian, he was working at a record store, and we met him because we would go down there and go through all the used records. You just flip through, like flip, blah, 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 and you see a good album cover, and you pull it out and you look at the cover and you look at the back and you go, oh, this looks like pretty good, and the songs like sound good. You buy it. You know what I mean? You take it home and listen to it. That's one of the great things about us having the Michael Whelan covers. Because back in those days, there was no internet. There wasn't shit.
There wasn't even listening stations at the record store.
No, there wasn't. There wasn't at all. So I mean, you would either like go buy a record. You would either go look at like certain rock magazines, like Cream or like whatever the crap like that, and you'd go down to the record store and you'd find these records, or you just go buy the record company cover, or by word of mouth, like you said before. And that's one of the good things about having a Michael Whelan thing. I mean, you're flipping through records and you see one of those, you're going to go, oh shit, what is this? This has got to be good.
I will say one thing really quick about today, and then Henry, you can come in. I still think that's relevant because in the streaming world, like, okay, next time you guys are on Netflix, think about that, or Amazon or whatever. It's like I'm on Shudder, I'm looking, and it's like, I see something that looks like fucking a Friday the 13th cover. I'm fucking going, what's this, right? I'm skipping across the worst fucking thing. These guys had a director on here that did the Mortuary collection, and like, I didn't like the cover. It looked like fucking Harry Potter to me. I skipped it over like for 3 months, and then I heard the guy on their podcast, and I'm like, oh, this is great, right? Like, you got it. Like, it's more relevant today than ever, I think. The initial grab of the art, it's just an image, especially with Instagram, whatever culture we live in. The picture's worth 1,000 words. That is still true.
That's cool. Hey guys, you guys, sorry, we're kind of taking this over. I mean, you guys want to actually have
the real
hey, what the podcast is about.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, who's there? Is that Rob? Oh, there you are.
It's Wolf
Rob's
Boy.
here.
Hey,
Wolf
enough
Boy.
talking about Aiden history. Let's talk about the album that Metal.Italy's poll picked the best album in 2020, Forever Black. Hey,
there you go.
The readers picked us over Purple, Blue Oyster Cult, AC/DC, and Ozzy, bands that we grew up worshiping. So to even have our name on a list like that is amazing. For us to come in first, not by the critics, but by the readers. When I saw that, it blew me away.
When you mention things like that, the readers, you've certainly got your injection of new guys. Obviously, myself and Justin, I mean, we've been listening to metal for a while, but we're still the young guys on the block. But you've got these readers, and you've got guys that have moved on from, picking up the old metal zines and, magazines, and they've moved on to the internet, and, they see these albums and they're following these bands for decades. And they come to this point, and you guys release this album, and they say, after all this time, compared to all these other guys, that have survived the wasteland of metal, this is, and I say wasteland in the sense of, bands come and go, but, this was the album in 2020 that stood the test of time. That's got to mean something. That's got to be an honor, because when I first saw that popped up, it reminded me of my cousin and uncle that played that music for me as a kid. And I was like, I wish they were still around to see this, because this was such a long time coming. But this music is, a lot of times, good music is passed down amongst people. They pass it on to you, and they say, hey, check this CD out, and they hand it over to you, and then you listen to it, and that's how the good stuff's used to be passed on. Or you went into a record store and you hung around long enough to where the guys that ran the stores actually gave you their opinion instead of trying to sell records. But
well, the thing about you mentioned that it's funny, because I'm sure a lot of people had a bit of trepidation when they say, oh, Cirith Ungol's gonna put something out, like, oh man, this is gonna be like a freaking train wreck or something. They haven't done shit for 30 years. They're probably all old and stupid. So I mean, we kind of did the Witch's Game thing, and that went over really well. And I think it gave people an idea of like, oh, hey, you know what? It's not going to suck, and these guys can actually still make some something that we want to listen to. So
yeah, we did one song. Yeah.
I mean, we're still waiting for the movie to come out, which we're still working on. So, and that kind of gave us the push to say, you know what, we can still do it, and it just spurred us on to do Forever Black, and we have some other things in the works coming up. I don't know if we want to mention what's going on specifically.
Oh yeah.
But we've actually we've got another full album of songs already pretty much figured out, and an EP, which should I say that, Jarvis, or what?
Yeah, we got an EP coming out. We'll give an exclusive here to the podcast. It's not been announced, but we have an EP coming out late May this year, which is called Half Past Human, and the artwork is the 6th piece of the Elric series that Michael Whelan did. So we're completing the circle now of all 6 pieces, which was Frost and Fire, King of the Dead, One Foot in Hell, Paradise Lost. We skipped Witch's Game was a separate piece that he did. Forever Black was a separate piece.
I'm Alive was the other one.
I'm Alive.
The live
album, which was the 5th Elric piece, and now Half Past Human is the 6th piece. So we have the full Michael Elric series, all 6 paintings now on Cirith Ungol releases. That EP is coming out, and like Tim mentioned, we have about a song is written for another full length. The band will play shows again in either very, very late this year or 2022. Like considering we're all still here and not COVID death or whatever's going on, and there's actually things happening.
A lot of good things going on. Yeah. So hey, so maybe like I said, we should maybe explain a little bit about that EP that's coming out. If Rob wants to tell the story about all those songs or whatever.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
First, Tim, can you spell the word trepidation?
I can. Would you like me to? Really?
I think it's C-O-C-K. Is that what it is? Yeah.
It's like
trepidation.
S-H-U-T-U-P.
Yeah, trepidation.
Trepidation. Yeah. So anyway, Rob, you want to explain the EP, or you want me to do?
Well, we can let's do a tag team thing. When I tag you, you go for it.
Yeah,
that's what she said. Yeah.
Ooh.
I guess so.
Okay,
we put out Forever Black. We put out Forever Black, and once again, I'm still shocked. A lot of different websites and magazines and stuff included us in the top 10.
They
20.
liked it. Yeah.
A lot
Okay.
of them got picked 1 or 5 or 2nd or anyway. So we got that out, and we were trying to figure out what we should do before we put out another full length album. And we had a lot of people, they like the orange tape. A lot of people like some of our older stuff. So we decided to put out an EP with 4 of our older songs that, we breathed some new life into. And so that's what this is going to be. And I'm pretty excited about it. I think the people that liked Witch's Game, are going to like this because it's less like Forever Black and it's more kind of like our older stuff, but with a little bit more better production values and excitement. And Jarvis.
Well, okay. Well, yeah. Well. There's four songs on it. One of the songs that's on it is called "Brutish Manchild," which we did on a flexi disc that came out in I think what was it, Decibel magazine last year. And people were going like, why wasn't that on Forever Black? And, so we're actually putting that on this EP. Totally different recording, by the way, because that was just done at the time. The other 3 songs are songs that a couple of them are on the orange tape from like years and years ago. There's another one that's never been heard before. I think Greg's old band Falcon did a couple of them, but we've actually gone in and did these songs, all new recordings, all new everything, like with how we do things now.
Right.
So I think people are their older songs are like all kind of beat related songs, like called Half Past Human is like one of the songs. The one Brutish Manchild. There's a song on there, She Lives Lair. And then we got Route 666, which is one of the songs on there. So they're all kind of older songs, but they're done in our what we're doing now. So I think
I like to call them reimagined.
Yeah, reimagined. Yeah, they actually came out really good, man. I mean, I listened to them numerous times, and I think everybody's going to be really pleasantly surprised. And it's just kind of we're glad to be doing this. Like I said, in the meantime, while we're working on the next full length album, so it'll give people some, something fresh to listen to. And they came out really good, and we're really looking forward. I wish it were, I wish it'd be out before May, but nothing I can do about that.
We could just put 2 complete full albums of just old songs. But I mean, at our age, and like you mentioned, you kept saying, 50 years in, whatever, we're not young men anymore. And so what we want to do is we want to use these last few years of the band being out there and, still together to actually do something serious and actually put a place mark in the band's history before, we exit stage left. So I think.
Well, I mean, look, hey, the band's headlining Keep It True in Germany. It's already sold out 3,000 tickets. April 29th, 2022. I mean, there's a lot of shit coming up for the band as far as that goes. And,
Well, and that I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that what we want to do, instead of like just rehashing old songs that we wrote and recorded,
like 40 years ago.
Yeah. We have a whole series of new ideas that we want to put out. And since people loved Witch's Game and people like Forever Black, I think the new stuff that we have is even heavier than that. And so I think, once again, this is our final 15 minutes of fame, and we're gonna use it to the limit.
In regards to Forever Black, how much of that material was floating in your head for 29 years, and was it all just fresh?
Zero.
It was all fresh. We wrote it, in the last, been back together. We from the first concert that we played was what, 2016?
Yeah, October 2016.
Yeah, 2016, and then we got contacted to do the Witch's Game thing, which kind of got our juices flowing. It took us a while to do that because I had to write it twice for various reasons. But it's all fresh material. It wasn't anything that we had before, so we all worked it out as a band. And like I said, that album came out really spectacular, and people seem to like it. And I think the next album is going to just take that to the next level. I mean, the songs are even better than that, I think. I really love that album. It came out really good, and the songs are great. I think, like Rob was saying, I think we just really want to come out with maybe what might be the last thing that we do, and just totally, just take it over the top and just kick ass,
Jarvis, how did you go from trying to get these guys back together to being the bass player?
Just by default. Like, it was the thing where, like, we started with just Rob on drums. He swore he wouldn't touch a pair of drumsticks ever again. I mean, he sold his drums in 92. His wife bought him a pair of drumsticks as like a stocking stuffer in 2004. And he wouldn't even take them out of the stocking. He saw them sticking out, and he berated her Christmas morning. And he made her actually physically take them out and put them up in top of the closet. And then 11 years later, he grabbed the sticks after my persuasion and came and played on Dusty, Night Demon's drummer. He played on his kit. I left him up in the studio for 2 hours to play after he hadn't touched a pair of drumsticks or drums for 25 years. And it sounded like Animal from the Muppets. It was like fucking insane. But it sounded like he was having a good time. But it wasn't like riding a bike. The training wheels were off. So it kind of started like that. And so me and Brent from Night Demon, like, we would play Frost and Fire and I'm Alive with Rob, a couple times a week. And then I called Jimmy from Paradise Lost record and said, hey, you want to come play some songs some Cirith Ungol songs with Night Demon? And he's like, yeah, I think that'd be really cool, man. Thanks. That'd be really fun. And then he showed up and saw Rob, and Rob's like, what's he doing here? He's like, what's he doing here? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And then, like, okay, we jammed one song and it was amazing. And then Greg came in. Greg we called Greg, and he came in. Greg wanted to play guitar. Greg wanted to play bass. But I'm like, he owned 20 guitars. So I was like, no, you're the guitar player. So he played. And then Tim would come to every rehearsal. Didn't matter who was there. It could have been just me and Rob sometimes. We were getting together a lot back then. Tim would come to every rehearsal and refuse to sing, but he would always just sit and go, oh, I want to hang out. He'd be the first one there and the last one. But I would always set up a mic in the back of the PA on. And I swear one day after like 3 months of rehearsing, like, we heard the voice while we were playing, and we're like, oh man, it was so good. It was great. There was a lot of rumors back then that
I was dead.
That he was dead. Like that was the rumor around not just around the internet, but around town. We were in a lockout studio at that time where there was like 14 bands in one space, right? Rehearsing. And I remember some guy going, "Oh man, I heard you got Cirith Ungol back together. I heard you guys jamming. Sucks Tim Baker's dead." And Tim walks right in the door. And this guy's like, he saw a ghost. He's like, "What the fuck?" You know, like, yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, that's kind of how it went about. I really, really, really tried hard to get the original bass player in. We've talked to him many times. I had him come and do the signing session when that's really how this started. We did the Frost and Fire Festival in Ventura, which is a traditional metal festival that we named Frost and Fire in honor of Cirith Ungol. And that's the first time these guys got back together in 2015. Tim, Rob, Greg, and Flint, just to sign autographs, not to play or anything. And people flew in from all over the world just to meet them and tell them their stories and their history of the band. It was a really, really awesome thing. But we've tried with Flint. We were trying to get, we got a reunion together where he was going to come to Germany with us and this thing. And then, you know, I mean, he's got his own thing going on. I mean, the thing is, we've thrown out the option many times, and, you know, what are you going to do? You can't hold up the band if the bass player doesn't want to play, right? Like, it's like the bass player, even in that movie, that thing you do, like the bass player doesn't even have a name. If you look at the credits, he's a bass player. It's
right.
Like, you got to do it. So I just kind of got it by default, but it's cool because, you know, I manage the band, and like, I feel like I have a lot of live experience playing live. I mean, I played live, like I've played over 1,500 gigs in my life. And like, I get to direct traffic on stage. I get to interact with the band more on stage.
Right.
As opposed to be the manager yelling on the side of the stage in a suit that's high, like it's like, you know, you know, at least I have an instrument on and I can whisper in somebody's ear like, "Hey dude, like, you know, your amp's off," you know? Like, hey, that's not, I will say this, and I'm sorry, Greg's not here to defend himself, but man, the first gig we ever did, that reunion show, the first song, we played Join the Legion, and Greg was so nervous, he got turned around. So I'm going, what the fuck is going on? I'm hearing this shit in my ear, and he's like ahead of us 4 bars. So when, like, it's like, it goes to fucking C, D, and he's going like D, C, and I'm like looking at him, and we're just locked into this rhythm of wrongness, and I'm like, no, this can't happen now. This is the first song in 25 years this band has ever played. Like, everybody flew in for all over the world for this. I'm like, this is not happening. But after that song, it was, anyway.
Just a little nerves.
Yeah, that's my answer to that.
That's not how I remember our lawyers contacted your lawyers, and after several nights out drinking.
Yeah, our gatekeeper connected you.
So we'll go around the bin here. Each of you, it's the nature of the podcast. What are your favorite horror films?
Oh, by the way, Tim did voiceover for The Gate too.
What?
Yeah, I have photography
Yeah.
of that. He did all the screams for The Gate too.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but they didn't use them.
Really?
They didn't use them. But they did not use them.
Oh,
So
okay.
the story with that was somehow we got. I think Ron Gowdy, who produced Paradise Lost, must have known. Must have known the guys.
Ron Gowdy just recently passed away.
Yeah.
Oh.
He must have known the guys that were doing the movie, and they wanted some extra soundtrack stuff for the Geek too. So actually, Jimmy and I went down there. I think Rob went too. To some studio in LA, and they actually, they showed, well, here's the part of the movie that we want you to do stuff on, and Jimmy like cranked up and just doing like dive bombs and just crazy shit on the guitar, and then I was just doing some like crazy ass screaming and shit. It was, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. There's part of the movie in Gate 2 where they catch a demon in a brown paper bag, and they're smoking weed and they're blowing weed in the bag.
Yeah.
And the demon goes fucking crazy when they get that. That's the whole part that we did. So we're going like the demon's like ripping guys' faces off, and I'm screaming at Jimmy's dive bomb, and we're going like, oh, this is gonna be great. And then when the movie come out like a year later, whenever we go to the theater to watch, it's just like some regular soundtrack crap. We're going like, hey, what happened to our shit, man? So we went through all that trouble, and they never used it. I have no idea why they did. That's my horror movie experience.
How did I end up with photos with that? I have photos from that tape.
Oh, I know. Yeah. But, because I think we actually took Hazard with us, our old photographer.
Okay.
With us too, so.
Yeah.
just to kind of document
that's
the
what was
whole
cool
thing.
about
so.
those times, man. You had photographers, you had real shots. That shit was documented. It didn't end up on somebody's
It was
phone.
part of the.
That got thrown away for the new phone. You know? Yeah.
It was part of the.
Yeah.
He was part of the pot. He was part of the posse.
All right. So favorite horror movies.
Anyway, movies.
I'm gonna tell top. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Rob's top 3 favorite horror movies. Okay, mine don't matter. So Rob's is Lord of Illusion. Clive Barker's Lord of Illusion. Okay, that's gonna be with Rob. He's gonna also go with. No, actually, fuck. Would he do an Argento film? No, I think Tim probably come in with an Argento film like Demons or Suspiria.
Let's ask Rob. He's right there.
Okay, Rob. Okay, Rob. Go ahead, Rob. Give us your top.
Hey,
give us your top 3.
Yeah, he asked what was your favorite films, not what was my favorite film.
Okay, come on. What's yours, Rob? What's your favorite horror film?
Okay, if I had to pick one favorite horror film, I'm going to pick From Beyond 3 times.
Did Stuart Gordon do that?
Yes.
Did he also do Reanimator?
Yep. Stuart Gordon pretty much ran the Lovecraft gambit.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, and Jeffrey Combs was in all 3 of those movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and
What
he's
was
from
that?
Oxnard, where Jarvis grew up, I think.
That's true. Yeah, he's from the town that I was from. Yeah. What's up with when that resonator goes off, like all of a sudden Barbara Crampton, like what's up when she gets into the bondage gear and then the cop, he's like in the Speedos and he gets all horny and then she gets all horny on Jeffrey Combs, but he's like, oh, like not having it. Like bullshit.
I always thought From Beyond was fucking weird. Like I like that you like it, but it's the one Stuart Gordon movie where I watched From Beyond and I'm like, oh man, this is interesting.
But it's good, dude. Like when Dr. Pretorius gets all like his skin is just all like the effects are so fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it's
right?
it's definitely kind of
It's lots of
right
Vaseline.
Yeah.
The resonator. Tim, what are your favorite horror movies?
Oh yeah, I would have to say shit like, From Beyond, The Thing, like you just mentioned. Some of the classics like Frankenstein and stuff. The Evil Dead movies. Like the comedy one, of course. The last one. What Army of Darkness.
Yeah, that's a great
Oh,
one.
so good. So good.
And I mean, it's all kinds. I'm not that big of a horror movie guy, but like stuff like that, I enjoyed. So.
Tim, this is a horror movie podcast, so you're excused.
Well,
now.
I know that. I know it's madness though too.
Yeah, there's all
Madness.
kinds. We do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, I will second
Okay.
The Thing. Not the original one, but the Kurt Russell thing. That's one of my favorite movies.
Wait,
Carpenter.
that is not the original, right? Now there's a third one, right?
Yeah, there is.
You got the Thing from Another World, and then you got
Right.
John Carpenter's The Thing, and then you've got the blasphemous prequel, I guess.
You're right.
Well, you can't.
I'll
I'll also go with the. They're not really horror movies, I guess, but I would go like Blue Velvet, Eraserhead kind of crap too.
You're going David Lynch just all together.
Yeah, but I mean that's more like that's not horror movie stuff, but it kind of is in a way. So.
Oh, anything Lynch just gets
Anything.
underneath your skin. It makes you
Yeah.
feel awful.
What?
You don't
have
know
you seen
why.
you've seen the one with the talking monkey, right? On Netflix.
Yeah. It's
Well,
pretty
it's called,
fucking-
no, you guys gotta watch it. It's called
It's weird, dude. It's weird.
What did Jack do? It's like only like 15 minutes long, where David Lynch himself is in the movie. And he interrogates a talking monkey. It's as good as you would think.
Oh,
It's great.
Jesus.
It's fantastic.
Well, I gotta take the fifth on this because I've got me and David Lynch have like had a lot of like connection lately and been doing some things together. So I say that I'm not gonna criticize his work. I think there's a rhyme and a reason to the things he does. So
I mean, his films, it's interesting because you go from The Elephant Man, and which was it was very much a drama. There's points of that film that will make you want to cry, and then you go Lost Highway, and you're like, every bit of this film makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't want
I
to be
am a
sitting.
man. I am a human being.
Dude, Mulholland Drive,
Yeah,
dude.
man, talk about making a lesbian seem like the most unsexy
Yeah, right?
thing in existence.
Wait, before we lose sight of this, let me just give you my three I'm sure I'll have many more times on this podcast to do it, but don't ever ask me again. Here's
I won't.
my top 3 favorite horror films. I'm calling this the Jarvis 80s vampire trifecta. The 3 most important vampire films of the 80s. I'm not going to say of all time. It goes Fright Night, Lost Boys, Near Dark. That's the evolution of vampire films in the best era of horror, the 1980s.
Why did Near Dark
you don't go with The Howling too?
Fuck no, that's a werewolf movie. And that's too campy. It's too campy.
Oh no, Near Dark, why didn't that get a sequel? That movie is so fantastic.
Because it's too good.
Yeah, that's true. I felt like, oh man, that film could have done it could have had a prequel, and I would have wanted to know every character's origin. It was so good.
Fright Night had a sequel that sucked. It was only good because William Ragsdale and Roddy McDowall were returned, and Lost Boys sequels. Let's not even talk about it.
Hey, well, I'm thinking. I'm actually thinking of building a resonator so I can make From Beyond 2.
Oh, dude,
Maybe Barbara Crampton will show up.
Popping out of your forehead right now. Dude.
There you go.
She's still doing films, I think.
Oh, dude, she's great, dude. I follow her on Instagram, and I'm like, holy shit, dude.
She still looks like she's in the 80s, She hasn't.
Dude, I DM her all the time. She's like, you're like my daughter's age. Yeah, well.
She's going to remake a Castle Freak, isn't she? She's involved somehow, I thought. I thought that maybe she's a producer in it, or I know she's pretty
The only thing that sucks about Castle Freak is that Jeffrey Combs got it on with that other broad and not her. Awesome, because it wasn't a sexual thing, right? Because it was just a thing, she had died, kinda, and you saw her tits because she was stripped naked. But when you're fucking 14, you're like, that's doing something here, And so now I want to,
Wasn't there there's an old Empire / Full Moon picture. Wasn't it the Clergyman? Didn't they do a version of that with Jeffrey Combs and Barbara? They released it in the last 5 or 6 years, but they made it back in the 80s or 90s, and I don't think they did anything with it, and then they finally released it after all this time.
I didn't hear about that. That must have went straight to South Carolina
video to a blockbuster. The local blockbuster.
We still got a few floating around. I
Got a
think.
video warehouse down the street.
We still have a video store, the Salzer's Video in Ventura.
Yeah.
We have a video store. It's been.
I can't believe it's still open.
It's awesome, man. Hey, Rob, say something.
One of my dreams is to actually make enough money to where I can open up a video store and just sit in there all day and not have to worry about anything.
Yeah, that's the best job in the world because you'd have to do shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody's gonna rent anything. I'm just chilling.
You'll have no customers. You have all that time.
Yeah.
Best, dude. That's the best. Yeah.
So Justin and Henry, what do you guys pick 3 of your favorite horror films?
Oh, I've got them right now.
Yeah, come on.
All right, well, it's gonna be John Carpenter's The Thing. You're gonna have to. It's gonna be a film called Jacob's Ladder, the original one. And oh man, it's Alien.
The first one?
Absolutely.
Come on, the second one.
The second one, that's more of a sci-fi action. The first one,
you got all the characters. You got the one-liner.
Oh, you do, but the first one.
If you're gonna do the second, you got to go with Predator too.
The first Alien is a haunted house film. So
the gun from 1776. No, that's not how I end the. The
second one was like you said, a sci-fi action shoot 'em up movie.
Dude,
oh man,
if Danny Glover's gonna be in that whole movie, and then he finds the gun from the Constitution, Mel Gibson better be holding it.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Now,
all right.
Alien's got the creepiest line. You got a fucking disembodied. A beheaded android, and it's talking about how much it admires this killing machine, and it gives. At the end, it gives Ash gives that smirk, and it's like, I wish you the best of luck. And it's like, this thing's going to kill every one of you. And I'm a robot, and I don't give a shit, and I'm going to enjoy every bit of this. That whole movie just creeps me out.
So basically, it's like a different version of The Thing. You've kind of typecast it's the same right?
Yeah, I mean,
It's,
I guess,
it's
yeah.
the same kind of like, you know.
Yeah, it ends up being like a claustrophobic nightmare, you know.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end though, you've got a creature that you don't, you've got a creature either wearing the skin of another person or a creature that came out of another person that's hiding in vents, and I mean they're similar. Yeah, I'll give you that.
It's like an alien version of Hannibal Lecter wearing this.
But see, here's the thing.
Oh, shit,
Here's the thing. Like that, I gotta say, like I feel you, Henry. Like you're taking like the genius approach to these films, right? But my girlfriend pointed something out to me actually earlier tonight.
Oh, I can give you my trash horror list. That's vastly different.
Stop
I
it.
can give you Blood Diner, which is a fantastic, crappy horror.
No, but
film.
I'm just saying, like how many times can you see a film like that, right? So it's like it's so good because the writing is so good, and when you get into it, you're like, wow, and then you're like, fuck, oh my god, oh fuck, and then you're like, oh fuck, I didn't see that coming, but it couldn't have been any other way, right? It's not the same. It's not the same from the second watch on. Whereas Fright Night, Lost Boys, and Near Dark get better and better and better and better and better. You know, like that's what I'm saying. Your favorite horror movies are great novels.
Last Boys, isn't that a Brat Pack movie?
Hey, fuck you. It's not I want to see the John Hughes vampire film.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. It's like
Anyway,
Grease with fangs.
It's like there's no shock and awe anymore. I get like you're totally right. They probably are the best pound for pound like story and executed on in cinema.
I'll give you that. No,
but you know what I'm saying?
It's also I had a dad that, his idea of fun was going to the corner video store and renting these things when I was like 10 or 11. So, I watched these and the nightmare stuck around for like 8 years. So like they have a little bit more, a little bit more impact than, I'm not like the 22-year-old college student sitting around like, oh, I gotta philosophically dissect this film.
Nah, you're right. You're right.
So, I give it to everybody. Hey, look, I've watched, and I'm sorry, I got From Beyond mixed with The Beyond by Fulci.
Okay.
But man, so many of those films, like you watch them and you sit at the end and you're like, oh, I'm going to have a philosophical moment. And man, this has a deeper meaning. And then you watch films like Evil Dead 2 and you're like, I just fucking enjoyed. This is everything I needed tonight. I needed to watch something that I'm going to laugh and simultaneously, knee jerk when I watch him cut his fucking hand off for the first time. So horror is just a great outlet. Whatever you're watching, whether or not you want to, think a little deeper than the surface or just, watch something that you cringe or laugh at. Don't want to.
Yeah, that's Rob every day watching Rachel Maddow.
I think I've been thinking this whole time since you asked me. I had to narrow it down to 3.
Come on.
No order. I can't do order. So we're going to go with The Unnameable.
Okay.
Then we're going to go
H.P.
with
Lovecraft.
The Warlock, Julian Sands.
Oh, nice.
Then we're going to go with Critters.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Something about that Johnny Steele Power of the Night stuck with me when I was a kid, and here I am.
It's a shame that Critters got, I think that movie was in production before Gremlins, but it got stuck because of something with the production company and getting it out. But it came out after Gremlins, and
that's
now
what they said that like about Exodus Bonded by Blood was recorded before Kill 'Em All, but didn't come out till 85.
Yeah, so now everybody thinks it's a parody now, and it's history. But
I remember that movie when I was young, coming out 87, 88, something like that. And Cirith Ungol was doing they were almost done. They were almost retired by then.
And now you're playing baseball.
1 foot in hell.
I want to hear more why you guys don't like From Beyond, which was one of my top picks. I agree, Dr. Pretorius. That whole scene. I don't know. I mean, it's campy. I know that for sure. But I mean, it's got some pretty great lines. I mean, and also the resonator and all that stuff. I mean, But see, I guess I love it because I love it.
Here's my problem with that movie. Okay, I love the film. Okay, but I also read I've read every H.P. Lovecraft short story. I've read every Clark Ashton Smith. The From Beyond story is like a page long. It's really, really, really short.
It's the
and
same
it's
with the
cool.
Unnameable.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's
well,
very
the
short.
same. The same with Total Recall.
What?
Philip K.
The
Dick
fuck you
stories.
talking about?
Philip K. Dick stories are like 30 pages long and shit. They made like movies out of them, man. So I mean, you're doing the college man thing now.
I mean,
I read one page. The thing is, you're trying to like extrapolate into a whole movie. I mean, they gotta like fill it out somehow, man. So
You guys are gonna hate. Tim and Rob are gonna hate what I'm about to say. But like when I was young, it was like, Metallica was my gateway to everything, including you guys. Even though you were in my own town, I didn't know you, and I wasn't your father yet. Okay,
Luke, I'm your father.
Yeah. So when I heard
Or
when I see like H.P. Lovecraft From Beyond, I had the cassette soundtrack. I found the cassette before I even knew it was a movie, and I bought it because it said H.P. Lovecraft, right? It wasn't until way later that I had to go to a fucking library to find a book and read that and go, oh my God, every story this guy ever wrote is in one fucking book. and I go to, oh my God, From Beyond, table of contents, and I read one page, and then I turn the page and it's like,
that's it.
It's like next page, like the Dunwich Horror, and I'm like, wait, hold on, like this book's fucked up, like no, that's it, right? Like so that was my gateway. Everything H.P. Lovecraft was, like I had to know more,
Right.
I didn't know everything to the point and the Ungol guys know, but I took a pilgrimage a couple years ago to Providence and did all the legwork, and everywhere that guy hung out, every house he ever lived in, everywhere he ever wrote, I was hanging out in graveyards, like everything, but like I went to the fucking, like Arkham fucking shit there, the Arkham Asylum, all that stuff. But you just have to put your mind somewhere else, and it's bands like Metallica that do that expand our minds to that. It's the films, like Stuart Gordon's films. No, stop. I'm not finished.
You and your unabashed love for that crap, man.
Stop. I'm not finished. It's bands like Cirith Ungol that take our mind, that expand our mind to the Moorcock novels, the Michael Whelan stuff. You know what I'm saying? No, really.
Yeah.
Cirith Ungol's done it's just as much for Michael Whelan and Moorcock, I think, than they've done for themselves. I can say that now these days. I really can say that. In 2021, I can fucking say that. Really. Whelan's done covers for bands that have sold gold or platinum records, but it never came back to Whelan. Nobody ever knew Whelan did those covers. They knew that he did them for Cirith Ungol, So it's crazy. There have been so many other bands that have done album covers from Michael Whelan because of Cirith Ungol. So anyway, I'm just fucking rambling right now. I haven't seen these guys.
I want to go back to horror.
Come on, Rob.
Horror,
Go ahead.
Well, just like we never thought the Lord of the Rings could be made, and obviously it had some shortcomings, but I mean, still it was pretty amazing compared to the cartoon, and but there's so many good stories, the Elric stories and a bunch of the H.P. Lovecraft, I've watched probably 10 different movies of the Call of Cthulhu, which are just all one's more like a radio thing that's kind of done like in a 50s film noir thing, which is not horrible, but I mean, if you use today's special effects, you could do an H.P. Lovecraft, matter of fact, there's a Dunwich Horror. There's several of them out, and they're really bad too. If someone could actually take one of those stories and get a really good screenplay and have really good special effects, you'd have like an ultimate horror film.
What about the recent Nick Cage one?
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Colorado Space. That was
I think
Richard Stanley is doing the Dunwich Horror.
Stanley is doing a Dunwich Horror, and Guillermo del Toro has been working on at the Mountain of Madness project for, I don't know, a better part of a decade now.
You guys are all wrong, because I'll tell you what. So with his writing, everything is so horrible that you can't even describe it. It's so bad and it's so outer worldly that the human language of how to describe it doesn't exist. Your eyes can't foresee it. It's like seeing God and the devil at the same time. There is no comprehension and there is no interpretation.
Yeah, but okay, so
nobody
you know what?
will ever be able to accurately do it. Ever.
Okay. So I'll tell you the truth. I haven't read that much Lovecraft because a lot of it I can't get through. It's just too, old, whatever. But then again, you're talking about, so does he actually use those terms to describe the monsters you're describing? They can't be described. They're so horrible, blah, blah, blah. So
in a way, yeah.
So to me, that's a really cheap cop-out.
And he does go to that well a lot.
Literally speaking, it's a cheap cop-out. Oh, I can't describe what my monster is because it's so indescribably bad. Well, you know what? Fuck you, dude. I don't need. Hey, lay it out there, man. Let's hear what you got to say about it, man. Let's hear what your so undescribably delicious thing is here. I mean, that's a Lucky Charms thing. I'm sorry, that's indescribably delicious.
A lot of the other writers in that circle, though, they did a pretty good job of kind of filling in the blanks. Yeah,
I mean, you know what? To me, like I said, I haven't read that much Lovecraft. To me, it's like I've read a lot of the classics and stuff, Milton, Dante, and things like that.
Oh yeah.
And trying to get through that kind of stuff is really tough because of the language that they use. It's the terminology and the way they write and the stilted language. I mean, the stories are good and they can be made they're for idiots like us. They're not for idiots like us because they're so indescribably delicious that we can't understand them.
Yeah, if you grew up on Gilligan's Island, you're fucked. Yeah.
Well, that's what I grew up on Bewitched and Green Acres.
Lovecraft was like an unabashed British file, so like a lot of his language was a little outdated even for the time that he was writing.
It's like trying to read like classic like Milton or Dante. It's old English style language and things like Edgar Allan Poe's stories. You know what I mean? Those are
but I mean the stories. I think those hold up more over time. I think that
because you can read them and understand them, and he actually explains what.
Yeah,
I'm curious to hear what Robert has to say.
Well, Tim said I've read every Lovecraft thing over and over and over again, and there's so many good stories. And sure, he was sort of racist, but if you look back at that time,
I didn't say nothing about being a racist. I said
so. They pull back everything from his history, and now it's in the cancel culture era.
Oh, I know.
They're like, wow, they don't talk about like, okay, maybe he was autistic or had Asperger's and that wasn't diagnosed then.
Yeah.
Maybe they threw him in New York City and he, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, now they would go like, never mind the racist behind the curtain there. Just read the stories and ignore the racist.
Hey, let me step in. You can't mention cancel culture and then you actually bringing it up. We're talking about horror. Let's set all that stuff aside and keep talking about the horror part. One of the great stories is the case of Charles Dexter Ward. And that's another just amazing story, a horror at Red Hook. There's just some really good stuff there. And once again, if someone could wrap their arms around it and do justice to it. Now, at the Mountains of Madness, I have a kind of a story. I used to work with a guy and he had the same name as the guy in the book, and he actually was in Antarctica for a long time. And so I mean, I just I know it sounds weird, but that's another one of my favorite stories. His name was Danforth, and he was actually in. They have a thing here near us, Operation Deep Freeze, where they the CB guys they go down to Antarctica and drop off all the supplies for all the science
for the guys for the thing.
Yeah, for the thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey Robert, have you ever have you seen Dagon by chance?
Yes, of course. And
wasn't that a fun little kind of adaptation of Innsmouth and Dagon kind of rolled?
Yeah, it is because there's a Dagon story, but then also the what's the Innsmouth one? It's stretching
Shadow of the Innsmouth or Shadow over Innsmouth.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. It's like all the guys' relatives turn into frog creatures because some like seaman guy gave money or did a deal with these underwater creature guys to make sure.
Obadiah Marsh, I think. Was that what it was?
Yeah. Amazing. Anyway, I love that stuff. Matter of fact, I've read it so many times. I actually have.
Yeah, I'll be back in a minute, guys.
So sometimes like when we're flying to Europe or something, we have a 20-hour flight. I'll just sit there listening to some guy read that, you know. And
You lie. You lie. You listen to Conan on those flights.
No, I got Conan too. Hey man, I
Yeah.
love literature, you know, and that's kind of to me, that's the same kind of art I think that we're doing. You know, we're stepping outside our bodies and we're trying to like actually put ourselves into another place to create something, you know, that's, and I think in our case, you know, we're doing like Forever Black was kind of like a really dark, kind of gloomy album. And I think, you know, what was so amazing about that during this pandemic, which is a dark time, I think the album just fit, you know, what was happening around us perfectly. So, I mean, I just, and that I can write, but I can't write anything near like an actual novelist or stuff, but I can appreciate ones that do write good. You know, Michael Moorcock, I love his stuff. You know, matter of fact, he's got 3 other Eternal Champions that are just, he's got Corum, he's got Hawk Moon, and all that stuff is really amazing, you know, so.
Yeah, kind of overlooked now because it always seems to goes to, I guess, not Conan, the other one that gets booked in with Elric. They're 2 that are like primarily part of the Eternal Champion.
And one's Corum, and then another one is Hawk Moon, and then I'm trying to think what. And there's several of them.
I think his name is.
Yeah. No, I mean, music and literature should be transcendent. I mean, you should, you know, if you're listening to it or you're reading, it should take you to another world. And, you know, I think that I, for one, and I'm sure Justin and I have talked about this, we've listened, you know, Forever Black took us to another place. And we, you know, for all of the runtime, that I think that's the most important part of music, is that it takes you away from your reality and puts you into a place that, you know, you don't have to think about that. You can kind of push yourself into, if you want to say philosophical, that's fine. But, you know, it takes you out of the moment. It makes you appreciate the music you're listening to at the moment.
Well, so now when you're saying that though, so now the music itself does that. It's a combination of the music and the imagery of the lyrics and the whole sonic like landscape. I mean, we try to, you know, we when we're doing stuff, we try to do that. We try to, you know, make it have the right feel, you know, for what we're trying to express in the song wise. So
this is a layman trying to kind of jumble lyrics and music and, you know, sonic atmosphere and, you know, all of that into. I'm using the generic title of music, but I mean, obviously, your guys are putting so much more in outside
Not
of just
really.
a generic.
Yeah, but I'll say that there was some kind of foreshadowing here a bit. You got to think, like, so to make a record, you know, like these days, like you always have to think about the vinyl because that physical format is back, right? As much as the digital age is in, we're not SoundCloud rappers. We don't make a track today and upload it and then go on Instagram and like, yeah, you know, like, and we got the stack of money. And we're already slapping bitches on the ass. We have to write the songs. It takes a couple. This album was written, recorded, mixed, and mastered, okay, by, you know, October 2019, and was handed in and started to be pressed on vinyl in late 2019 to be released in April of 2020. And with Tim's vision, Tim and Rob, really, of Whelan's thing of Elric in this post-apocalyptic wasteland, and the songs like Before Tomorrow and Nightmare and stuff like this, like, and this thing comes out in April of 2020 when the first lockdown happens. Like,
That's
it's like
crazy.
it's like you know. So Legions Arise comes out like 90 days before that as like a single, like in late February, as like a lyric video, like, and the fans are going nuts. Like after fucking almost 30 years, right? Legions Arise, like let's like the fans of the band come back or coming back, and then the fucking pandemic hits, and then Before Tomorrow comes out, and then Forever Black, and then we fucking as a single, and then we go into this record. It's like, I mean, come on, you're gonna wait 30 years to do a record? Like, what kind of foreshadowing is that? It's like none of us ever thought this. Us as a band, we were talking about this in March. Like, what does this mean? We have gigs coming up, okay? It wasn't planned, but like it really was the perfect storm in a way, right?
Kind of a macabre fate, as it were.
Yeah, a terrible macabre happenstance of shit that happened. Because I mean, like I said, like Rob said earlier in the podcast here, we're not getting any younger, certainly, and this is like really like, we should be out playing. You know what I mean? We finally got back together after all these friggin' years, put another like album out, playing going out and like, meeting people and having fun with, with our long suffering fans and all the new ones that want to hear, the new stuff. And we're screwed for like a year, probably a year, maybe 2 years. You know what I mean? So it's really good. I mean, in a way it sucks, but like I said, we got the EP coming out, which we busted our ass to do. We've taken this time. We've like we created another album that we're going to be doing here in the very near future, which is going to be fantastic. So it's had its pluses. Really it's had its pluses and minuses, mostly minuses for sure. But I mean, it has given everybody a chance to focus on getting the job done as far as content wise. But still, it just sucks. You know what I mean? You've wasted a couple of years of everybody's lives. Yeah. And it's a horrible situation, and hopefully it's going to be rectified soon, and we can all get back together and just go have some fun, play some shows.
I want to die on stage.
No, you don't.
That can be arranged.
You know what? You mean
give me the damn.
Yeah, you mean of natural causes, I hope.
No, just get a bunch of sick people in a room. I don't like cool.
Well, they've had there's been other things that happen at concerts. People have died, so you don't want to say that.
I don't know. Gigi Allen wanted that, and he ended up dying.
What if there was like 50 COVID metal patients, right, that were on their deathbeds, right, and they said, "Man, if I could just see one metal show, I would go up there. I would." And I would play to a room of 50 sick, dying COVID patients with just my bass. I'd do like a Derek Smalls, I would go double bass, Derek Smalls, and I'd have a pod with one arm in, and I would play both necks on the double bass, and I would play my heart out to them and risk my life for that. Are you guys willing to do that?
I'd be in the crowd. I'd be
actually these guys
I'm not down
kids.
for that.
These guys have kids. Tim's got 5 kids, and Rob has 2 red ones.
I have twins. Hey,
yeah.
Listen, yeah. I want to just stay longer, but I need to probably take off here. But I wanted to thank you guys so much for hosting this and having us on here. And I know some of it got kind of crazy, but what people really need to know is like Cirith Ungol, we want to play heavy metal music, and we're going to continue to do it for as long as we're given opportunity. And so anything we do, we're going to try our very best. I mean, that's all I got to say about that. But I want to thank you guys again for having us. And I love horror movies. So if you ever want us back, we'll come back and talk some more about this stuff.
Oh, definitely, Rob. And thank you for coming on. And I guess we'll just be wrapping up in general now.
Yeah, sorry. You're going to have to edit this. I'm sorry.
I don't edit. Okay. Just kidding. All right, gentlemen.
It's been a pleasure, guys.
It's been a pleasure, really.
All right, guys.
All right, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. All right.
Have a good night.
Guys.
Heavy metal in the world.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll see you guys at one of our concerts in South Carolina.
We'll be there.
We'll be there.
We'll host it.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
Man.
All right.
We'll talk
cool,
about
man.
It. All right.
All right. Later.
Take care.